What I'd like to talk about, though, is how to build financial stability within your organization, and from there, how to step off into a capital campaign. Realizing that many of you have specific challenges as ministries that secular nonprofits do not have. So if we can address some of that, hopefully, if you have questions, let's ask. Our agenda is really, what makes an organization financially stable? How do you improve upon that stability? And then, how to prepare for the capital campaign and its steps and the steps involved itself. So, as Marsh alluded to, as Mark has pounded into everyone's head, preparation is the key. I think Abraham Lincoln said it best. If you want me to cut down a tree and you're going to give me 6 hours, I'm going to spend 4 of those sharpening the axe. All right, so prepare. Okay, we've all heard about, the 5P methodology. Everyone familiar with that? Prior performance, or prior planning prevents poor performance. You can do it that way too. But the gist of this is to achieve financial stability, it requires that every step of this, you are prepared, that you have done your work and that you are prepared. All right? So let's say, what is it that defines stability within an organization? And it really comes down to 4 things. It's your mission, your vision, it's your value proposition, and your strategic plan. So let's take each one of those at a chunk and go through it. A mission statement is a very, very concise statement that says why I exist. What does your center do? All right? It is short enough that your key stakeholders, it's short enough that everybody can remember it, and it's inspiring enough that people are motivated by it. All right? Mark alluded to this earlier in the morning. I have looked at, a couple of thousand mission statements. Most of them are 4 or 5 paragraphs long. Okay? I can't remember that. I'm bored after the first 2 or 3 sentences, but I press on and read anyway. I can't remember what they are, and I'm certainly not motivated by it. So, these are some mission statements from nonprofits. Our mission is simple: to offer education on the wise use of credit. That's from Springboard. You can read the rest of these yourself. They're also in the charts that we've sent out. The Minneapolis Heart Institute Foundation seeks to improve cardiovascular health through education and clinical research. Again, these are short, they're focused, they tell me exactly what you do. All right? And if your mission statement isn't that short, isn't that focused, you need to redo it. All right, a vision statement tells me where you're going to go. All right, where am I going to be in 3 to 5 years from now? All right, it is very, very specific, it's realistic, and it tells me what is going to be achieved. Okay, and it's stated in such a manner that you know when you get there. All right, you know you have achieved this. We are going to a land God promised to our forefathers, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, if that is not a powerful vision statement, I don't know what is. 1721,000. This is from Rudy Rasmus, who is a pastor of an inner city church in Houston. And it says, by 2017, we're going to raise $20 million annually to feed, educate, and house over 1,000 homeless men and women in Houston. If any of y'all are basketball fans, three-peat. We're going to do it again, another NBA championship. Again, these are very strong, very clear vision statements. Okay? A value proposition. This is why I want to do business with you. All right? Why do I want to do business with your organization? It is an explanation of your return on investment. If you are going to invest $10,000 with me, or $50 or $100 or $100, why would you do it? What return do you get on this investment? I'm able to quantify that for you. All right? It's also sometimes called an elevator pitch. Are you familiar with an elevator pitch? Basically, when we get on the elevator at the ground floor, by the time we get off, you want to talk more to me about whatever it is we're talking. So, you know, this is key for your value proposition. All right, so if the mission statement tells me why you exist, the value proposition answers that question again: why should I do business with you? And it is, without a doubt, the single most important part in defining the strategy of your organization. So here's some value propositions. We sell insurance. Boy, that makes me want to jump up and do business with you, right? How about this? We help families and individuals protect their most important assets. A little better? Okay. We sell shoes and athletic gear. Could be Academy, could be Dick's, Cabela's, right? How about this? We bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. If you have a body, you are an athlete. That is the mission statement from Nike. So you see where we're going with value proposition examples. They entice you to want to play ball. Your value proposition creates a differential between you and other people. Somebody mentioned earlier that there were, 7 different groups or agencies that did the same function in their port. You're all competing for scarce resources. So how do you differentiate yourself from the other players in that market? How do you differentiate yourself from those people that simply are trying to get money from the same funding sources you are, whether you do the same thing or not? You do it through a strong value proposition. It will increase the quantity and the quality of the funding leads you get, and it makes conversations with potential donors that much more likely, that much easier to have. A value proposition has 3 elements to it. It's got a physical, a relationship, and an emotional appeal. I can tell you about my quality. I can tell you about the speed of delivery, how competitive I am. That's the physical or quantifiable part of this element. The relationship is how we interact with the organization, the experience you have in interacting with us. And then the emotional appeal is just that. It is purely an emotional appeal. It's a pull on the heartstrings to help get you open up the purse. All right. So now we understand some of the basics that go into what makes a stable organization. Let's look at how are we going to improve the stability of it. You really have 4 elements there: what we call a readiness and capability study, the strategic plan, a marketing plan, and then the metrics themselves. So a readiness and capability study is nothing more than a study that says, are you ready and are you capable of completing the task that you have at hand? And it answers that question objectively. It looks at all the current capabilities within your organization, and that's everything from your board, the involvement that your board has, your management staff, your executive staff, the staff itself, possibly the facilities, the infrastructure, your IT, all of this is taken into account. And it determines whether those capabilities are within the organization are truly ready for that. And what you get is a go or no-go situation. So as a result of a readiness and capability study, you can say, yeah, we're good to go, or no, we have issues to address. It's that simple. All right. I also like to say that readiness and capability studies, they determine what I call the EEC, the effectiveness, efficiency, and cost effectiveness of an organization. In the business world, we would call that better, faster, and cheaper. That's the only things that we are concerned with in corporate America, is how to make it better, how to make it faster, and how to make it cheaper. Nonprofits don't get to, you don't have to worry about that. So what we do is we look at effective, okay? For every dollar that I take in from a funding source and apply to a service, how effective is that dollar? Am I able to serve one person, 2 people, 10, 1/10? The efficiency of it. You know, what is my efficiency as an organization? But more importantly, let's break it down into various service level components and say, if I charge for shuttle rides to and from the center to the berths, you know, if I'm able to charge for that, am I charging appropriately? Am I routing efficiently? All these kind of things, you know, this is where the efficiency piece comes in. And cost effectiveness, it's simple. Am I getting the most bang for the buck? You know, am I getting the most bang for the buck? And one of the things that I see that people don't look at from a cost effectiveness standpoint is they want to try and measure something from dollars, actual dollars that come in through grants and funding sources. What about your volunteer labor? Do you have volunteers? Do you count that? Is that head count that you use in your metrics? All of those type of things. So think broadly. All right. Again, readiness and capability. This simply says we're going to determine our metrics, what we have in place, what we need. And folks, the reality of metrics is if it is not measured, it doesn't get done. So if I say, Valerie, I need a report on how many people we saw at the center last year or last fiscal year, Valerie's going to say what? Okay. When do I get my report? When do I get it? Right away? What world do you live in? Okay, seriously. I say I need a report on the number of people that came through the center last fiscal year. It's your job to go write that report up. When do I get it? I didn't tell you I needed it by next Tuesday, did I? So you're probably going to put it off. If you're like me, you're going to put it off. If you're like most people, it'll get put off. So look, if it's not measured, it's not going to get done. And the same thing goes, especially in getting your organization to be stable and to improve its stability. How many of y'all measure anything within your organization right now? What do you measure? Yes, so let's shift gears for a minute now. So we've done a readiness and capability study. We think we're ready to move forward with whatever it may be, in this case, raising money or a capital campaign of some kind. So now you put together a strategic plan. You know, as a management consultant and a turnaround specialist, not only did I write strategic plans that cost $100,000 and sell a lot of them, I also looked like Mark. I looked at some very impressive leather binders that were covered with dust. You know, people don't use them. We have a strategic plan. What have you done with it? Well, really nothing. All right. Look, a strategic plan runs for 3 to 5 years, and that's it. That's it. And it says, this is how I am going to achieve my vision over that 3 to 5 year period. That's all a strategic plan does. That's it. Okay? Now, in there I'm going to put 5 to 8 major objectives. I add an implementation plan and a timeline, how I'm going to measure that, and then how am I going to review it and make sure that I'm on track. If you take away nothing else from this talk today, this is the most important slide you will see. It's that simple. How many of y'all have gone to strategic planning retreats? How long do they last on average? Long weekend? Half day. We need to talk. Y'all are in good shape. No, so anybody ever gone to the really long ones? Off-site retreats, long?
Well, I was in one that was over a period of 2 months or so, but it was separated.
Yeah, separated out. Okay. All right. What if I told you could do a strategic plan in about 9 hours? Who would believe that? Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Huh?
I mean, if it's done right, obviously.
Okay. So look, here's how this works. Here's where we are today. What is the reason we exist? If we have a clear mission and we know why we exist and what we're going to do, and it's up to date, then all I have to do is say, where do I want to be in 3 to 5 years from now? It's that simple. Then my strategy is nothing more than those 5 to 8 objectives that go on the list, and I say these are the order in which I do these objectives. It's that simple. And if I come up with more objectives, I come up with 10 or 12, that's great. I add them onto the list, and as I complete these, I simply add the new ones behind it. And then underneath that, you have your various initiatives which support the objectives. It's that simple, people. I love this chart. This is condensed like the entire world of strategic planning down to one page. And it makes it so simple that anybody could do it. So it really does. And again, if you take nothing away from this today, take that with you. Okay, marketing. How many of y'all do marketing, PR? Yeah, some? All right, good enough. By and large, most nonprofits kind of overlook marketing, and it is, we all know it's exceptional. We all know that we need to do it somehow. How you go about doing it and which part of the multifaceted pieces that you use are really specific to your organization. Do you need a Facebook account? Do you need Twitter? Do you need, a website? Do you need this, that, or the other? Depends. The answer to all of that depends. Depends on what you're doing. Depends on how what your message is and who you're aiming at. Who's your target audience. By and large, though, what happens is a lot of nonprofits get sucked into a marketing redevelopment, and it becomes some type of effort to brand or rebrand your organization. Do you really need to rebrand your organization? Not really. I mean, you know what you do. You provide services to seamen, right? Do I need to create a whole new image and a new logo and all that kind of stuff? Not really. So, but think about the various ways and the aspects that you can use marketing. All right. Again, back to metrics, and these are near and dear to my heart because this determines what happens, what gets done, and look at what I measure, and everything I measure should serve a purpose. And if I can't define the purpose of why I'm measuring it, then you really have to ask yourself why waste the time doing it? Well, we've always done it this way, or we've always measured that. So what? Is it still serving a purpose? Does it drive, this effectiveness, efficiency, and cost effectiveness? If it does not, then don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. All right, so we've done all of this stuff. We've gotten ourselves stable. We've improved that stability. Now we're going to get ready for a capital campaign. So, you go back and ask yourself, have all of the questions that have been addressed under the readiness and capability study, have they been addressed? Are we good to go at that point? Yes? Super. Strategic plan, is it being implemented and is it actually being measured? Yes? Good. Keep going. Now you build a case for support. This is a document that explains the history up to the current operations of your group in great detail. All right, and especially for capital projects, it says what the possible results of the project are going to be, and it says why should I give to this campaign? All right, and in addition to your case for support, which you're going to have when you're talking to larger donors, larger philanthropical organizations, they're going to want to see your strategic plan. They're going to want to see your implementation against it. And like Mark alluded to earlier today, the size of the wells are shrinking, and there's more horses out there trying to get a drink of water. Those people that have this, those people that understand it, and those organizations that are progressing against it are the ones that are going to get financially supported. You do a feasibility study. This is something that's performed by outside consultants, And they come in and they examine your organization and they say, yes, you're competent, current management is good, you have the ability to to raise some money, your reputation within the community is good, etc. And they say, yes, this is okay, you guys are in pretty good shape at this point, let's go forward. And now you look at what it takes, the likelihood for success. You've got to have your moving mission statement, a vision statement that excites people, and that your strategic plan is currently being implemented and that it is ongoing. You must have a passionate board. Mark spoke to you about boards this morning, and there were so many questions about how do I get rid of the rooted board members, how many, the board members that don't show up, da-da-da-da-da. Folks, at the end of the day, if you don't have a passionate board that absolutely is behind that mission statement, they're excited and motivated about being there, okay? They want to achieve the vision. They are personally, financially supporting the organization itself. They can help, they can either give you or get you money, and they're involved in the implementation of the strategic plan, you're not going to be successful. I'm sorry. I don't care how much of the other stuff you've done. You will not be successful unless you have this component, Let me talk a little bit about the board being involved in the strategic plan. One of the organizations that we work with, board members would simply go down to staff and ask a question. They just kind of walk in or send them an email or call them and, they want to know this, that, or the other. And then take that information, whether it's absolutely correct, whether it truly answered the question or not, and then use that to make decisions on. You can't have that. That's not implementing your strategic plan, and that's not a functional communications path, nor is it a functional relationship. If I am responsible for some element of the strategic plan as a board member, then I communicate back through the rest of the board or through the executive director or CEO, and it stops there. Can't have the board messing around down at the staff level and vice versa. It just doesn't work, okay? So be clear about that. All right, so what do you do now? Do a readiness capability study, get your strategic plan done, build your case for support, have your feasibility study conducted, determine based on your feasibility study if you have a go or no-go, finalize your case for support, create your campaign budget, do the strategy, and assemble your campaign cabinet. Start training your leadership and staff, other volunteers. Launch the silent phase of your major campaign. Silent phase, if you're going to conduct a $2 million campaign in your silent phase, you're going to raise about 50% of your money before you say anything to anybody. So you'll raise your $1 million, then announce your campaign, go public with it, and then you wrap it up. So, and I think that's about it for us.
Let's give a hand to Blake. Thank you
very much. Thank you, Mark.